While there are various ways to learn and many great teachers, such as books, podcasts, videos, blogs, and even specialized courses, there is one teacher that trumps them all, and that teacher goes by Professor Experience. If you want to learn anything in a way that you never forget it, there are two things that should undoubtedly play a role in your quest: experience and repetition. Taking on knowledge from other people's experience to learn something new severely limits your upside potential with that thing. If you don't know how to count and you learn from your friend Billy who can only count to 25, let's just say you won't be counting to 30 anytime soon. I don't want to completely rule out methods like the internet or books as extremely powerful tools to learn new things, but there are some significant limitations. For example, imagine you're trying to learn a new skill like Facebook advertising. YouTube would be an amazing source to learn how to set up and optimize the campaigns. In a matter of hours, YouTube could provide you with an amazing foundational knowledge of Facebook advertising without any experience at all. But let's say your goal is to become the best at Facebook ads. If all your knowledge comes from gathering information, you are limited to the knowledge of your sources. Ultimately, you don't know anything that somebody else didn't already know. You're now working with the same tools in your tool bag as everyone else. You never learn the best way for you to run Facebook ads. You learn the best way for someone else to run Facebook ads. Not only that, but what happens when you run into a very specific problem that you can't find the solution to online? It's not until then that you realize you haven't acquired a skill. You've acquired memorized knowledge. This is going to seem cliche, but it'll all come together in the end to hopefully give you a new perspective on the design of our mind. By far the best way to learn anything new is through repeated personal experience with it. Any understanding that comes from outside of our own application of what we are trying to learn is nothing compared to what we learn from experience. We can build up a nice foundational knowledge base from all these external sources, as if we were filling our tool bag with tools, but when it comes to genuinely learning the skill for ourselves in a way that we never have to relearn it, we've got to implement or execute on that knowledge base. And then we've got to fail, and then start over, and then fail, and then start over. And do this over and over again until we reach our desired outcome. Our true understanding comes from the carrying out of this knowledge base and rehearsing over and over until we find the path that works best for us. Learning a new skill or behavior is not the easiest thing in the world to accomplish, but there is an extremely significant fact to consider when it comes to the human brain and learning new things. Our brain is beautifully designed to learn new things from the repetition of experience. Like with machine learning technology, if we can be very clear and concise with our brain regarding exactly what it is we're trying to learn, all that is left to do is try and fail, again and again until we succeed. Once we find any sort of success, our brain dials in on the steps we took to reach it, and we start taking similar steps. Just the same, once we find any sort of obvious failure, our brain dials in on those steps we took to reach that outcome to avoid taking them again. Just think about it. If you're going to stand 10 feet in front of a wall and run into it full speed with your head down, well, for one, it's going to hurt really bad. But secondly, if you were to stand up and go back out 10 feet and try to do it again with the same intensity and commitment, you'll find something incredible happens. You subconsciously stop yourself before making it back to the wall. You can bet that if you gave it a good go on your first run, it would take millions of dollars in cash for you to be able to bypass your subconscious mind and hit that wall full speed again, no matter how bad you wanted to. It's like the old example of the stove, which I'm sure you've heard. Our mom and dad could tell us, "Don't touch the stove, it's hot," literally 1,000 times. But that isn't when we learn to give our full attention to a nearby hot stove. The first time our hand touches that hot stove, the second it happens, it's like we've just graduated from Harvard with a master's degree in don't touch the hot stove. If anything in this world is going to keep us from touching a hot stove, it is touching a hot stove. Well, in the same way our mind is a master of identifying and remembering what not to do to avoid pain or failure, it is a master at remembering what to do to achieve success. All you've got to do is define what the successes look like and then rehearse and rehearse until you can achieve it 1 or 2 times. Once your brain recognizes that success, it will also remember every step that was taken to achieve it, and then hardwire neuronal connections in your mind to create something called a thought pattern, or a habit, so that you don't easily forget it. Once you have reinforced these ways of doing into your subconscious mind enough times, the last thing you will have to worry about is forgetting them. In fact, you would have to make an extended, conscious effort to clear them from your mind. While it's not what anybody wants to hear because it takes a little time and effort, it's the solid truth. Nothing will teach you a new behavior or skill in a way that you never forget it, like the repeated rehearsal or experience of that behavior or skill.